Started when the United States passed their Universal Military Training Act of 1948, which was a draft law after the Second World War and before Korea. And 4 of us, Quakers, refused to register for that draft law. So we were arrested and sentenced to a year and a day in prison. And we were actually in prison for a third of the sentence and out on parole the balance. So after we were released from prison, we and others in the meeting in Fairhope, Alabama, got to talking about it. Like, well, maybe I'll leave the United States, see if we can find some place a little less militaristic.
All right.
And we considered various places. Costa Rica had abolished the army in 1948, and so we decided Costa Rica was the place for us to go. So 7 families of us sold our possessions in Fairhope, Alabama, and came to Costa Rica. And we spent about 6 months looking for land. We wanted to locate in higher elevation for better health, above the zone of the mosquitoes that carry malaria, etc. And we didn't have enough money to buy in the Central Valley close to San Jose. So it limited the area somewhat. Finally, a man brought 3 of the group up here to look at the land here. And we decided this was the place for us. Beside the 7 families from Fairhope, while we were looking for land, 4 more families joined us from other parts of the state. So when we founded what we named Monteverde,
okay,
1951, with 11 families, 44 persons. And of the original 44, there's still 6 of us here.
Did they keep coming from the States, more families from the...
Some of the original left went back to the States. Others come down, and so there's children born and raised and so on. So we decided to make cheese for cash income for the majority of the group. First cheese was produced in 1954 here. If anybody had told us that it was going to become a tourist mecca, we just simply wouldn't have believed them.
Yeah.
We bought a tract of land of about 3,400 acres and set aside about a third of that to be at the headwaters of our little river to be left in forest as a watershed. And then divided the balance into farms. Each family chose a farms that they liked and could afford. And so the watershed and the schoolhouse meeting house grounds is the only part of the property that stayed as community property. About 1968, a young man, George Powell, came to do research here for his doctorate in ornithology and became very much interested in the ecosystems which he found on the upper edge of Monteverde. It was the Monteverde Cloud Forest Reserve, which was started in 1972. And through donations, it's been enlarged to about 26,000 acres now. And a few years later, young woman Sharon Kinsman came to do research here. When she left, she traveled around showing slides and giving lectures in the rainforest. And she was giving her slides and lectures in a school in Sweden. And the children felt the need to save the rainforest.
Okay.
So they started doing work projects and making things to sell, putting the money into a fund. other schools in Sweden heard about it and started doing the same thing. And I think the Swedish government agreed to match whatever the children raised. But they sent a large sum of money to the Monteverde Conservation League to buy rainforests. So they did. They bought a tract of land and they called it the Swedish Children's Rainforest. But almost immediately they started receiving funds from children all over the world. So they bought more rainforests and changed the name of all of their holdings to Bosque Eterno de los Niños, Eternal Forest of the Children.
Which is the biggest private reserve in Costa Rica today, right? Yeah.
Right. In 1979, the BBC came and filmed their documentary, Forest in the Clouds. And in 1980, National Geographic published their documentary, Rainforest. And about half of that was filmed here in Monteverde. So Monteverde became known and tourism started.